Why do many people die shortly after turning 60? Doctor explains. You ever notice how, right after someone turns 60, the phone rings a little more often with bad news? Friends, neighbors, even loved ones, gone, sometimes within months of retiring. It feels sudden. But the truth is, it isn't. Hi, I'm William, 50 years of working with older adults. And let me tell you, this pattern, it's real. But it's not fate, and it's not aging. It's something else entirely. You see, most folks think 60 is the beginning of slowing down. But what if I told you it's actually when everything speeds up? Heart issues, depression, memory loss, even loneliness. They don't creep in. They rush in if you're not prepared. But here's the good news. You can stop it. I've seen people turn their entire lives around in their 60s, get healthier, sharper, even happier than they were at 40. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain. I'll show you the real reasons why many folks pass shortly after turning 60. And more importantly, how you can avoid that outcome and live stronger, longer, and with more joy than ever before. Because it's not too late. It's just the beginning. Now, let's start with something most people never see coming. It's not a disease, not a diet. It's something deeper. And it hits the moment you step away from work. Let's talk about the loss of purpose and why that can be more dangerous than any diagnosis. You know, most people dream about retirement. The day they can finally clock out for the last time, sleep in a little, maybe travel, or spend more time with grandkids. And hey, they should. You've earned that peace. But here's what no one tells you. Retirement isn't just about stopping work. It's about replacing purpose. And when that piece goes missing, something inside us begins to quietly shut down. I've seen it time and time again. Folks retire, and at first, it feels great. They catch up on sleep, binge a few shows, maybe take a little trip. But then, the silence sets in. The calendar empties. The phone stops ringing. And without structure or goals, the days start to blur. Here's the truth. Purpose is like oxygen for the soul. Without it, the mind drifts, the body weakens, and the spirit dims. That sense of being needed, being useful, contributing, that's what keeps us alive. Not just surviving, but thriving. I remember a gentleman named Earl, 67, newly retired, no major health issues. But he fell into a deep slump until we got him volunteering at a local school. Within months, he lit up again, smiled more, laughed louder. His doctor even said his blood pressure dropped, all from feeling needed again. So, if you've just retired, or you're nearing that season, don't just plan your finances, plan your purpose. Because when the why disappears, everything else starts to unravel. And that brings us to the next invisible danger. Something just as sneaky and just as deadly. It starts with a single skipped walk, a few more hours in the recliner. And before you know it, your whole body begins to slow down. Let's talk about the trap of sudden inactivity. Ah, the recliner. Cozy, dependable, always there after a long day. But let me tell you something. After 60, that recliner can become a trap in disguise. See, when we stop working, we also stop moving. No more walking to the car, climbing stairs, chasing deadlines. And suddenly, you blink, and most of your day is spent sitting, reading, watching TV, maybe scrolling through your phone. Sounds harmless, right? But here's the truth. A sedentary lifestyle after 60 is one of the fastest ways to lose strength, balance, and independence. Your muscles, especially your legs and core, begin to shrink. Your heart gets weaker. Blood sugar goes up. And before you know it, simple things like getting off the couch or walking to the mailbox feel hard. One of my clients, Janice, 72, sharp as a tack, came to me frustrated. "William," she said, "I don't know what happened. I was fine last year." Well, we looked at her daily routine. Turns out she'd gone from walking her dog twice a day to barely leaving the house. We started small, 10-minute walks, light stretches in the morning. Within 6 weeks, her energy came back. Her knees hurt less, not more. She even danced at her grandson's birthday. Movement isn't just about fitness. It's about freedom. You don't need a gym. You just need to move. Walk around the block. Do some chair yoga. Garden. Just don't sit still. Now, while the body may slow without movement, something else fades even faster when left alone, and that is the mind. Let's talk about what happens when we stop engaging, stop connecting, and how isolation quietly chips away at your memory, your mood, even your life expectancy. You know, people often think memory loss just comes with age, like gray hair or creaky knees. But the truth is, your brain, it needs stimulation to stay sharp. And when you stop giving it that, well, that's when the fog starts rolling in. One of the biggest threats to your mind after 60 isn't genetics, it's isolation. When you stop having meaningful conversations, stop solving problems, stop learning new things, the brain gets lazy, and eventually it starts letting go. And I'll be honest, loneliness, it's more common than we admit. Kids move away, friends pass on, and before you know it, your world gets quiet. Too quiet. What many don't realize is that chronic loneliness can raise your risk of dementia by over 50%. That's higher than smoking. I remember Miss Annie, 84, lived alone after her husband passed. She told me, "I don't feel like talking to anyone anymore, William." I gently nudged her into a weekly senior book club, just once a week. Within a month, her memory improved. She started joking again. That spark came back, because connection brings us to life. So here's my advice. Call someone. Join a group. Learn something new. Teach someone what you know. Keep that mind moving, just like your body. Now, while your mind needs connection, your body, it needs fuel. And I'm not talking about quick snacks or TV dinners. No. I'm talking about real, healing, energizing food. Because what you put on your plate after 60, it can either help you thrive or slowly wear you down. Let's talk about that next. Let's move into something that impacts your health more than most folks realize. Nutrition, the silent saboteur. Section 4, poor nutrition, the silent saboteur. Food. It's one of life's greatest pleasures. A warm meal, a familiar flavor, a shared bite with someone you love. But after 60, food becomes more than just comfort. It becomes medicine. Or, if we're not careful, poison. See, as we age, our bodies change. Our metabolism slows, our digestion shifts, and our nutritional needs go up, not down. But most folks, they end up eating less real food and more processed junk. Quick frozen dinners, white bread, sugary snacks. Easy, yes, but over time, they chip away at our health. I once worked with a man named Robert, 68, diabetic, tired all the time. When we sat down and looked at his meals, it was mostly carbs and very little protein. No wonder he was crashing midday. We added in lean chicken, more leafy greens, a handful of almonds, and, believe it or not, blueberries. Within a month, his blood sugar stabilized, and he started walking again without getting winded. You don't need some fancy diet. Just real food, beans, fish, veggies, nuts, and good old water. A little planning, maybe cooking in batches on Sunday, can go a long way. And don't forget hydration. So many seniors live in a constant state of dehydration. It affects your brain, your joints, even your heart. So drink that water, friend, even when you're not thirsty. Now, we've talked about feeding the body, but what about feeding the spirit? Because there's something just as powerful as nutrition, and it doesn't come from a plate or a pill. It comes from inside you. Let's talk about the power of positivity and why the way you think about aging might just be the most important thing of all. Section 5. The power of positivity and gratitude. Now, this might surprise you, but your mindset, the way you think about aging, can actually add years to your life. I mean that literally. There was a long-term study out of Yale that showed seniors with a positive view of aging lived 7.5 years longer than those with a negative view. Not because of medication, not because of money, just because they believed life still had something good to offer. Isn't that amazing? You see, our thoughts shape our actions. When we believe we're too old, we stop trying new things. When we say, "What's the point?" we stop taking care of ourselves. But when we wake up and say, "I've still got something to give," the whole world opens up again. I knew a woman named Grace, 79, widowed, quiet. One day, she started a thankfulness journal, just 3 things she was grateful for each morning. Within weeks, her mood shifted. Her memory got better. Even her arthritis eased up. Why? Because gratitude lowers cortisol, reduces inflammation, and brings peace to the mind. So here's the challenge. Each day, write down one good thing. A smile, a warm cup of coffee, a call from a friend. Little things. That habit? It builds resilience. It builds joy. And joy, my friend, is fuel for a long life. But even with the right mindset, we can't ignore what's happening under the surface. Because the silent stuff, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancers you can't feel, those are the ones that sneak up on us, unless we catch them early. Let's talk about Section 6, chronic conditions and missed screenings. Now look, I know going to the doctor isn't anyone's idea of a good time. The waiting rooms, the paperwork, the awkward gowns, I get it. But let me tell you something straight. What you don't know about your health can absolutely hurt you. After 60, there are a handful of conditions that become much more common. Heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, even certain cancers. And the scary part? Most of them don't show symptoms until they've been doing damage for years. That's why regular screenings matter. I once worked with a man named Joe, 66. Never liked doctors. Figured he felt fine. His wife convinced him to go for a routine Medicare wellness check. They caught early-stage prostate cancer. He got treatment, bounced back strong. And you better believe he never missed another checkup again. The key is early detection. Medicare covers annual wellness visits and many preventive tests, mammograms, colonoscopies, blood pressure checks, cholesterol panels. They're all included. So there's no excuse not to go. And don't forget your medications. So many folks are on a dozen pills, and don't even know what half of them do. Sit down with your pharmacist. Ask questions. Simplify where you can. One less pill might just mean one more year. Now, while we're talking about health, we can't ignore something else that affects it: stress. And for many folks over 60, that stress isn't coming from illness. It's coming from money. Let's talk about the weight of financial worry and how it can quietly chip away at your health, your sleep, and your peace of mind. Section 7. Financial stress and lack of planning. Now let me tell you, nothing weighs heavier on the heart than financial stress. And after 60, it creeps in quietly. Whether you're living on a fixed income, helping out your adult kids, or just trying to stretch every dollar. I've seen proud, hard-working folks suddenly overwhelmed by medical bills, rising grocery prices, or home repairs they didn't plan for. And here's the thing. Financial stress doesn't just keep you up at night. It raises your blood pressure, messes with your immune system, even leads to poor eating and skipped doctor visits. It's not just about money. It's about peace of mind. I worked with a woman named Carol, 73, living alone, didn't realize she qualified for assistance. We sat down, looked at her benefits, and just by enrolling in a Medicare savings program and a local energy support grant, we freed up $250 a month. That changed her life. She joined a walking group, started eating better, even smiled more. There are so many resources out there. Medicaid, if you qualify, SNAP for groceries, housing assistance, and tools like benefitscheckup.org to help you find them. And don't forget, it's never too late to talk to a retirement-focused financial advisor. Even a simple budget can go a long way. You deserve to enjoy your retirement, not worry through it. But there's one more piece we can't leave out. Something people avoid until it's too late. It's not just about financial planning. It's about life planning. Let's talk about preparing for the road ahead, not out of fear, but out of love. Section 8. Lack of future planning. Emotional and practical. Now I know this next part can feel a little uncomfortable. Nobody likes to talk about end-of-life plans, living wills, or medical decisions. But let me tell you something I've learned in all my years. Planning ahead isn't about dying. It's about living wisely. When we leave things unsaid or unprepared, no power of attorney, no will, no healthcare directive, we're not just making things harder for ourselves. We're leaving our loved ones with tough choices during the toughest times. I remember one couple, James and Loretta, both in their 70s. James fell suddenly ill and couldn't communicate. Loretta was devastated and didn't know what he wanted. It haunted her. After he passed, she told me, "If we had just had that conversation, I could have had peace. So don't wait. Sit down with your family. Talk about your wishes, the medical treatments you do or don't want, where you'd like to live if you need care, even how you want to be remembered. It's not morbid. It's wise. It's loving. And on the flip side, plan for joy, travel goals, hobbies, your legacy, the things that make life worth living. Because now, my friend, you've got the whole picture. And the good news? You're more in control than you ever knew." So, here we are. We've uncovered the real reasons. So many folks pass away soon after turning 60. It's not just about age. It's about what we stop doing and what we start neglecting. Purpose. movement, connection, nutrition, mindset, screenings, finances, future planning. When we tend to those areas with intention, life doesn't shrink. It expands. And you know what? You're not powerless. Far from it. You have more control than you've been led to believe. More power to shape your future. More time to live it well. You've already taken the first step, just by being here, listening, learning. So keep going. Take a walk. Eat something green. Call someone you miss. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. And most of all, believe that your best days aren't behind you. They're still ahead. You've still got chapters to write, laughter to share, wisdom to pass on. And if you found something valuable in today's message, share it with someone you care about. It just might help them too. There's more good stuff coming soon. I'll be right here when you're ready. So go on. Take that next small step forward. And until we meet again, take care of your body, protect your peace, and remember, every day above ground is a good day. I'm William, and I'm proud of you.